On my brother's engagement dinner, they made sure there was no seat for me. "You can eat with the staff," my stepmother sneered. I walked past their smug faces, straight to the private VIP table they didn't know existed reserved under my name. When the manager called me Madam CEO, the entire hall went silent. Then things exploded. I grew up invisible in my own family. My dad remarried when I was 10. At first, Jolene pretended to like neat cookies, fake hugs, calling me sweetheart. But once she popped out her golden child Cadden, the gloves came off. Suddenly, I was dramatic. Ungrateful, jealous. My dad? He nodded along like a lobotomized puppet. They gave him everything. Private school, car at 16, new phone every year. And me? I was told, college is your responsibility, Malia. We're stretched thin. So I got 2 jobs, slept 4 hours a night, graduated with honors. Meanwhile, Cadden dropped out of college after a year of stress and got handed a job in my dad's construction company where he managed to burn down a client's garage and still got promoted. That's how things were. But I never fought back, never screamed, just watched, took notes, built my own path. Fast forward 7 years. I now run a boutique tech consulting firm, small but powerful. We design back-end systems for construction businesses, some of our clients, my dad's competitors. But I never mentioned that to them. Why bother? Then came the engagement. Cadden was marrying Betrayal, a girl who used to bully me in high school, back when she was a cheerleader, and I was discount Dora because I wore thrift clothes and carried a backpack everywhere. Life's little circle of hell. They invited me to the engagement party. More out of politeness than love. Jolene texted, "You're invited. Hope you can make it. Dress code is formal, not business casual like you usually do." I nearly deleted the message, but something in me twitched. I called my assistant and said, "Book a reservation. Private VIP booth. Same place, 1 hour earlier." Then I went shopping. I walked into that restaurant in a storm blue velvet dress, heels sharp enough to kill, and a smile so fake it could have been Botox. They were already seated. 20 people at one long table. Laughter, flash photography. Waiters floating like ghosts. I stood there for a moment. Jolene saw me and did that faux surprise gasp. "Oh, you came." Cadden turned. "Hey, Did you RSVP?" My dad just blinked. "You're early. We haven't ordered yet." I scanned the table. No empty seats. "Where should I sit?" I asked, even though I already knew the answer. Jolene flicked her hand. "Oh, honey, the manager said they were at capacity. Maybe the kitchen staff can spare a stool." Laughter, low, mean. Even Betrayal giggled behind her wine glass. But before I could move, someone else did. The floor manager approached, cutting through the crowd like a knife. A tall man in a charcoal suit. "Calm, cold-eyed, Miss Dalton?" he asked. I turned to him. He gave a slight bow. "Your private dining suite is ready. Apologies for the delay. This way, Madam CEO." Madam CEO? The words dropped like a bomb. Every face turned. Even the DJ. "Stop the music." I followed the manager past their stunned, open-mouthed stares and into the side suite, where a table was set for one with fine china, chilled champagne, and a custom nameplate. And a clear glass wall. They could see everything. What would you do if the people who once made you feel worthless suddenly saw your power for the first time? Would you let it end there or twist the knife a little deeper? I sat alone at that elegant table, sipping my champagne slowly while they watched from behind the glass like zoo animals trying to understand why the lion was suddenly on the other side of the cage. Jolene's face was priceless, twisted into a smirk she couldn't keep straight. Cadden just blinked like someone had unplugged his brain. My dad? He rubbed his neck, eyes darting between me and the floor. A few of them, Betrayal's cousins, I think, kept turning around in their chairs, pretending not to look. One even took a photo. Good. Let them see what real success looks like. The waiter came to take my order. His voice was extra respectful, toned like he was talking to royalty. The staff knew who I was now. They Googled me the second I walked in. And when they saw that my firm had helped redesign half the restaurant chains in the state, their attitude changed fast. I wasn't just someone with money. I was someone with power. 15 minutes passed. The engagement dinner still hadn't started. Then, the manager knocked and entered my suite. "Miss Dalton, your family has requested to speak with you. Shall I let them in?" I didn't even blink. "No." He nodded once and left. 5 minutes later, Betrayal showed up anyway. She didn't knock Dot, just barged in like she owned the place, wearing a $400 sequin dress that looked like it was losing the fight with her spray tan. Wow, she said, looking around. Nice setup? Bet this cost a fortune. But you always did like attention, huh? I smiled coolly. Better than begging for it with a diamond ring. Her jaw twitched. She stepped closer. Look, I get it. You're trying to make a statement. Good for you, but this is my night. Can you stop trying to hijack it? Hijack it? That's rich. Oh, I'm not trying to hijack anything, I said, folding my napkin. I was invited. You know, like a guest. You didn't RSVP. Neither. Did you when you laughed behind my back in high school? Her face paled just slightly. Then she smiled. You think you're better than us now? She asked. You think some VIP table erases the fact that your own dad didn't save you a seat? I leaned in, voice low. No, but it reminds me why I stopped trying to earn one. She left after that, slamming the door hard enough to shake the glass. 10 minutes later, the family finally began eating. The mood? Awkward, flat, like the air had been sucked out of the room. Cadden kept sneaking glances over his shoulder. Jolene avoided looking at me altogether, but my dad, he stared. Long, hard. He looked older than I remembered. Thinner, more tired. Like life hadn't exactly gone the way he thought. It would Dot, and maybe that's what made him finally stand up and walk over. He tapped gently on the doorframe. Hey, Malia, can we talk? I looked up from my steak. Sure, you've got 5 minutes. He stepped inside, closed the door behind him, and sat down without asking. You look different, he said. Sharp. I look successful. You just never imagined it on me, he exhaled. That's not fair. No, I said. What wasn't fair was making me pay rent at 16 while Cadden got a car for skipping class. That was Jolene's idea. She thought I was disposable. Silence. Then he tried to soften. You know, I always believed you'd land on your feet. You were tough, smarter than the rest of us. But I didn't know how to help you or how to talk to you. Helping would have meant not abandoning me. He flinched at that, Dot, and I felt this strange twist in my chest. A part of me still wanted his approval. Still wanted to hear that maybe, just maybe, he was sorry. But then he said it. Look, we all have regrets. But this family, it's not the same without you. I want to fix that. Can we start over? Start over? After years of being treated like the unwanted guest in my own life? I stared at him, Dot, then asked, would you say the same thing if I worked retail instead of running a company? He hesitated. That was my answer. The door opened again this time. It was the floor manager, Miss Dalton, he said. Apologies for the interruption. The owner of the venue would like to speak with you privately. He says he's an old client. I stood up instantly. Tell him I'd be honored. As I passed my dad, I didn't say another word, just like he did when I begged him to come to my graduation. And he chose Caden's soccer game instead. Once outside, the manager led me to a side room where the restaurant owner, Mr. Reeves, was waiting. Tall man, expensive suit, kind smile. I just wanted to say thank you, he said. Your firm saved my business after that awful data breach. Whatever you need tonight, food, wine, anything, it's on the house. I smiled. I may take you up on that. As we spoke, I felt something shift, not in them. In me. For years I waited to be seen, to be loved, to be accepted. Now I was all that without them. But I wasn't done. No, not yet. I walked back to the main dining room, straight to their long table, and clinked my glass. Sorry to interrupt, I said loudly, but I wanted to propose a toast to the people who taught me everything I never want to become. Their faces froze, and to Cadden and Brio, I added, may your marriage last longer than his GPA. Gasps, a few laughs. Even the DJ choked out. Then I walked away. One question still burned in my head, though. Should I stop now, or should I finish where I started? I left that dining hall with the kind of silence that hangs after a gunshot. Every eye followed me, but no one dared to move. Even Brill stopped mid-bite, a forkful of overpriced salmon trembling in her hand like it had just seen its own obituary. Didn't walk out of that place. I owned it. But as the night air hit me, something stirred in my chest. Not regret. Not quite. More like an itch. That feeling you get when the curtain drops, the crowd claps. But you know the show's not over. Not until the final act. Got into my car, a sleek graphite Tesla I bought with my first $1 million contract. Just sat there, watching the entrance. Watching my father, Jolene, Cadden, all of them. Pretend to keep celebrating. Pretend. That single quotes asked what they'd always done. Pretend I didn't exist. Pretend I was just a half-sister, the complicated one, the workaholic. Well, I was done pretending too. So I called someone. Yeah? A voice answered. Didn't expect to hear from you again. Change of plans, I said. You still interested in expanding into Montgomery County? You serious? Dead serious. I've got a contact. A contractor. I'll send you his portfolio. Name's Charles Grayson. That was my dad's biggest competitor, and I was about to make him very, very rich. I hit send. Then I texted one more person, my assistant, Naomi. Me. Pull the files on Dalton and Sons Construction. Let's talk Monday. Naomi, finally taking that. Offer? Me. No. I'm going to bury them. The next morning, I woke up early. Did yoga. Ate a protein bowl. Played some Billie Eilish while reviewing the files. The usual. Calm. Focused. Then I found it. A subcontract from 2 years ago. My dad had been using unlicensed workers to cut costs. Sketchy contracts. No paper trails. One of them had even been arrested for assault, but kept working under a fake name. My jaw tightened. I forwarded the file to Mr. Grayson and added, do with this what you will. Just keep my name out of it. Within 48 hours, a complaint was filed with the local contractors board. Then the Department of Labor. Then a lawsuit. 3 of his top clients dropped him like a flaming briefcase. Caden. Lost his promotion, my dad, put on probation, the company, on the verge of collapse. And me, I was just getting started. But something unexpected happened. One night, while I was working late, Naomi peeked in. You have a visitor. I looked up. At this hour? She shrugged. Said you want to hear what he has to say. It was my dad, standing in the lobby, alone, small. I walked down slowly, kept my heels on. Let them echo. When he saw me, he gave a sad little smile. Malia, you must be lost, I said. Family night is Thursdays. Try the Olive Garden. I came to apologize. I folded my arms. 12 years too late. I know. Silence. He ran a hand through his hair like he'd aged another decade since the last time I saw him. I made mistakes. I picked sides. I let Jolene run the show because it was easier. But I never stopped loving you. You didn't love. And me? You tolerated me. That's not true. Really? Then why did you make me pay rent while Cadden crashed his 3rd car? You didn't answer. Didn't have to. I turned to leave. Then he said something that stopped me cold. I have cancer. I froze. What? He swallowed. Stage 2, not terminal. Yet, but it's aggressive. I start chemo next week. Everything inside me twisted. Was this real? Or just another manipulation? He pulled out a folder, medical reports, dates, test results. All real. And for the first time in years. I didn't know what to say. What would you do with the man who betrayed? You now beg for forgiveness with a ticking clock over his head? Would you walk away? Or help the person who never helped you? I stood there, staring at a man I barely recognized anymore. My father, sick, weak, human, for years. I pictured him as some impenetrable wall code, distant, uncheckable in his favoritism. Now he was just fragile, hair graying at the edges, hands trembling, face sunken with stress and fear. I didn't say anything. Didn't move. My instinct screamed, don't fall for it. But there was something else. Something worse. A part of me still cared. I'm not here to beg, he said quietly. I just thought you deserved to know. And if there's any part of you that still sees me as your dad, I'd like to try to make things right. While I still can. Then he handed me something else. A check made out to my name. $10,000. For school, he said. I know it's late. I should have helped you back then. Maybe this doesn't fix anything, but it's a start. I looked at the check like it was radioactive, and I almost tore it in half. But ID in single quotes T. Instead, why now? He paused, looked me dead in the eye. Because when I watched you walk out of that restaurant, I saw who you really are, and I hated myself for never helping you become her. I said nothing, not because I forgave him, but because part of me was too stunned to even feel. I let him leave without another word. But that night, I didn't sleep, and the next day, something unexpected happened. I got a call from Mr. Reeves, the restaurant owner. Thought you'd want to know, he said. That contractor you introduced me to, Charles Grayson? He's building a new restaurant complex. Okay, he chuckled. He wants you to head the entire tech development. Multiple locations, national rollout. He said your revenge sparked his best business idea yet. Wait, what? Grayson was expanding? Massively. And I was going to be at the center of it? I should have been thrilled, but my gut clenched, because then I got a text from Naomi. Boss, we've got a problem. Me. What now? Naomi, you're not. Go into like this. Check your email. I opened it. There, in big bold letters, was a cease and desist letter. From CADEN. From Cadden. He was suing me for defamation and intentional interference with business operations. I laughed. Out loud. In my office, this clown, who couldn't even spell liability in high school, was trying to come after. Me, the lawsuit was weak, built on sand. But the timing? Suspiciously perfect. I called Naomi. Get me a copy of every financial report from Dalton and Sons from the last 5 years. Cross-reference contractors. I want to see if Caden's involved. In any side deals, she paused. Side deals? Something doesn't add up, I said. And if he thinks I'll play nice just because Dad is sick, he's even dumber than I thought. An hour later, she sent me the file, and I nearly dropped my phone. Cadden had been embezzling money. Small amounts at first, then tens of thousands. Running payments through shell companies owned by Brio's family. And guess who signed off on the checks? My dad. He'd been covering for him. That fake humility? The apology? The check? It wasn't about cancer. It wasn't about guilt. It was about protecting CADEN. Again. I stared at the documents, my heart pounding in my chest like a war drum. They tried to ruin me. Again. Only this time, I had the receipts. So I made one more call. To Grayson. Let's make the announcement public, I said. Press release. Media push. National rollout. Use my name. He grinned through the phone. You sure? Won't that make some people nervous? That's the point. And then I made one more move. I contacted a journalist I knew, Maria Langston, a relentless investigative writer with a grudge against shady contractors. Got a story for you, I said. Family corruption, fraud, public betrayal. Interested? She laughed. Malia, I could kiss you. Within 72 hours, the article dropped. Front page of a major online news outlet. Local contractor faces allegations of embezzlement, family ties, and fallout exposed. The article included everything: screenshots, fake contracts, shell companies, and one damning quote from an anonymous source, me. This isn't about revenge. It's about accountability. If blood is thicker than water, then it shouldn't be so easy to drown in it. The fallout was nuclear. The company collapsed. Cadden deleted every social media account. Brio made a public statement that she had no idea and called off the wedding. And my dad? He showed up at my office. Alone. Again. But this time, he didn't walk in like a man. He crawled in like a ghost. His eyes were hollow. He sat in the same chair and whispered, "Why would you do this to us?" And I said, "You never asked why you did it to me." Now the ball was in my court. Should I press charges? Should I let the law handle it? Or should I go one step further? Something darker, something final. He sat there like a broken man, hands trembling, lips cracked, eyes rimmed with something that looked like shame. Or maybe just exhaustion. You destroyed us, he whispered. Why? I tilted my head. Why? I repeated. You think? This is about some vendetta? You let them humiliate me, treat me like garbage, for over a decade. You didn't destroy me then, but you will not gaslight me now. He shook his head. You had your success. Why burn everything down? Because you never once cared what I built, I snapped. Only what I could give to your precious golden child. I threw the printouts onto the desk, contracts with forged signatures, dates that didn't match, payments that screamed money laundering. You protected him. You risked everything for Cadden. Again, even when you knew he was sinking your company. You lied about cancer. His eyes flared. I do have cancer. But you used it, I said coldly, as leverage. You didn't come to make peace, you came to buy silence. He slumped forward, defeated. And for a moment, I almost felt pity. But then he made one final mistake. I just wanted my son to feel like he was worth something. That's when I stood up. Then maybe you should have taught him to be something. I turned away, ready to end it once and for all. But the universe had one more grenade to toss. That same night, as I sat on my balcony, sipping a scotch and watching the city lights flicker like fireflies in glass, Naomi called, "You're not going to believe this. Try me." I just got a tip from one of our legal interns. Apparently, Brill isn't as clueless as she claimed. What do? You mean? Naomi hesitated. She filed paperwork 2 weeks ago, setting up a company under Caden's name, same show address, same routing numbers. She helped him? Worse, Naomi said. She ran it. I sat up straight, the cold glass now sweating in my hand. They tried to pin everything on Caden. Made him look like the idiot Patsy, which wasn't hard, and she tried to walk away clean, just days before their wedding. But Brill was the real snake in the grass. And suddenly, it made sense. The over-the-top smile. The way she schmoozed. My dad. The fact that she cornered me at the restaurant, like she had something to prove. It was never about love. It was about money. And leverage. So I made one more call. To Maria, the journalist. I've got an update, I said. Want to run part 2? She did. The next article dropped like a meteor. Ex-fiancé tied to financial fraud scheme. Sources say wedding was strategic cover. And this time, the news hit national syndicates. Brill's influencer sponsors dropped her overnight. She tried to post a tearful apology on Instagram, but people dug up old tweets where she made fun of poor kids and mocked people on food stamps. The public devoured her. Caden, now completely isolated, tried to file for bankruptcy. And Dad? His company was gone. His reputation? Ruined. He stopped showing up at his chemo appointments. The hospital called me. I ignored them. Cold? Maybe. But what about when I cried at 14 because he wouldn't come to my school awards night? What about when I called him from college asking for $100 to pay for textbooks, and he told me to learn how to budget like Caden? What about every time I needed a father and got a voicemail instead? You don't get to rewrite history just because you're dying. And as I stood in my corner office, staring out at the skyline with my name on a billboard 2 blocks down, I finally exhaled. But then something strange happened. The receptionist called. "There's a woman here to see you," she said. "Says she's your stepmother." My blood ran cold. Jolene. I hadn't seen her since the restaurant. I buzzed her in. She walked in like she owned the place, still wearing her pearls, her hair styled into a helmet of blonde perfection. But the skin under her eyes was thinner now. Tired, she sat down without asking. Then opened the bag. Inside were envelopes. One for me. One for Caden. One for her. "What is this?" She looked at me with something I hadn't seen in years, something raw. "Letters," she said. "From your father. He's gone." My stomach dropped. "Gone as in?" She nodded. "Died in his sleep last night. No drama. No final scene. Just gone. She slid my envelope across the desk. I opened it slowly. Fingers cold. Inside was a single sheet. "Malia, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I want you to know when the chemo started, the only picture I had with me was from your graduation. You looked so proud. I wasn't there, but I saw it later. And I cried. I'm sorry." Dead-eye folded the letter, stared at it. Then looked up at Jolene. "What do you want from me?" Her lips trembled. "I don't want anything. Just to ask if you'll come to the funeral." I didn't answer because I wasn't sure. Would you? Would you walk into a room full of people who spent years tearing you down just to bury the one man who never really stood up for you? Or would you finally let the past stay buried with him? That's the end of today's story. Did things turn out the way you thought? Or were there some surprises along the way? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't joined the community yet, now's the perfect time. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you're always the first to catch new stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.